Hi there guys, it's Aaron here from Console Deals, back with another video to cap off your week, with the ultimate video to cap off your week after a news heavy period just full of Xbox stuff, left, right and centre. Because that's right, Microsoft finally, after a fair few leaks, finally confirmed the existence of this guy's younger brother, the Xbox Series S. That's why I thought it useful to put into one big video, this one you're watching right here. We're going to be running through all the important aspects such as the aesthetic, the price, the release date, the games, and yes, just all the different options basically. We'll even go into the tech specs, covering pretty much everything you'll need to know when it comes to informing your purchase as to whether or not you should buy an Xbox Series S or an Xbox Series X at launch. It's going to be a lot of fun, so I hope you've all got your technical caps on and you're sat comfortably, got your popcorn, because this is the ultimate video. Should you buy an Xbox Series S or an Xbox Series X? Let's get into it. After rampant speculation and analyst predictions out the wazoo, Microsoft has now officially confirmed that both the Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X will release on November 10th, 2020. This is a release date almost 2 weeks earlier than when players in the West first received the original Xbox One almost 7 years ago, indicating that Microsoft is primed and ready to go with both of their next-gen options. At the time of recording, there's still no word as to when the Xbox's main rival, PlayStation 5, will hit UK store shelves. So yes, despite this being the very first time a platform holder has released two console SKUs on the exact same day, it's very, very simple in terms of the release date. Both the Series S and the Series X both release November 10th, 2020 here in the UK and worldwide as well. But what about the differences in terms of the aesthetic? Why has that Series S got that seemingly great big pupil just slap bang in the middle of the box? And why does the Xbox Series X still look like a fridge? Well, that's what we're going to be going into next. Check this out. Yes, much has been said about the bold appearance of the Xbox Series X ever since we finally got a good look at the chassis when it was first revealed way back during the 2019 Game Awards. And there's just no getting around it. It does look like a fridge, but this at least does help separate it from pretty much every other console that will be releasing this holiday. In terms of its specific dimensions, we know that the X is 275mm tall, 151mm deep, and 63mm wide when placed in a vertical position. Hence why it's been dubbed unofficially by fans as Microsoft's so-called Tower of Power. Then, at the other end of the spectrum, you of course have the Xbox Series S, which by comparison very much looks like a traditional video game console. It's been proudly touted as the smallest Xbox ever, replacing the previous owner of that title, 2013's Xbox 360e. The Series S is, in fact, a whopping 60% smaller than the Xbox Series X, and is easily differentiated from its souped-up big brother thanks to its pure robot white chassis and black-coloured circular vent on the top. The Xbox Series S is just 275mm tall, 151mm deep, and 63.5mm wide when placed in a vertical position. If all else, parents shouldn't have any problem telling the difference between the Series S and X this November, and placing both the S and X on top of one another still sees it coming shorter than the three Xbox One variants released this current generation. Impressive. Okay, yes, so now we've resolved what either of these boxes will likely look like when sitting in your entertainment centre in terms of how much space they'll be taking up. The next thing to go into is what exactly is in those shells. Why bother having two different SKUs in the first place? We know that the Series X is significantly more powerful than the Series S, but what exactly does that mean? If, like me, before these two consoles both got announced, you were left scratching your head about these technical things, well, wonder no more, because that's what we're getting into right now. An easy way to interpret what the Xbox Series X can achieve, if you're not into technical jargon, is by knowing that it's around 4 times as powerful as the Xbox One X, the current most powerful home console on the market. This is because the Series X boasts an impressive 12.15 teraflops of power and uses an 8-core AMD Zen 2 CPU running at 3.8 GHz, which should result in games being able to run smoothly at 4K resolution and 60 frames per second. AAA titles will look better, load a lot faster, and just generally tout a lot more sheen than what players are currently used to. In terms of storage, not much has actually changed at all when compared to the One. The Series X comes with a 1TB hard drive, but that can be expanded using a console-supported Seagate storage card. Moving on to the Xbox Series S, and the hard drive capacity is reduced from 1TB to just 512 gigs. That might sound like a decent amount in theory, but when you consider that the S is digital only, the space could fill up incredibly quickly. It might only boast a third of the Series X's power at 4 teraflops, but some good news is that the Series S uses the X's same CPU, albeit working slightly less at just 3.6 GHz. What does this mean? It means you have a box that prioritizes frame rate over resolution. 60 FPS is still achievable, but only at 1440p. 4K is apparently achievable on the Xbox Series S, but it isn't native and is instead upscaled. An important note just in is that, according to video game outlet VGC, Xbox Series S likely won't be able to run Xbox One X enhanced games, but hopefully this will be clarified further down the line. Okay, so now we've got a pretty good idea about what these consoles can both do when compared to one another. It obviously now comes down to price. Hopefully it shouldn't come as a shock to know that the Series X is significantly more pricey than the entry-level Series S. The Xbox Series S, of course, launching on day one here in the UK at £249. Quite the steal considering it can achieve 4K, even if it is upscaled. The Series X, meanwhile, retails for £200 more than the Series S. But don't worry, because Xbox has a plan, much like Dutch in Red Dead Redemption 2.
I have a plan!
If you can't afford that on day one, they've been running this program called Xbox All Access, but is that actually a good deal? That's what we're going to illuminate in the following section. Xbox All Access was first introduced at the end of 2019 as a way for Microsoft to encourage people to buy an Xbox One X or S despite the oncoming arrival of its next-gen consoles. Now, however, the finance plan model has been adapted and revised for those who want to pick up a Series X or S on day one and not pay for it up front, instead paying it off via monthly installments. But does opting for Xbox All Access mean you'll be better off? We've crunched the numbers. In short, yes. If buying an Xbox Series X through Xbox All Access, you get the X itself, plus a 24-month subscription to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Paying for the latter outright would net you £263.76 on its own, which when added to the price of the Xbox Series X of £449 amounts to £712.76. However, if you're choosing to pursue Xbox All Access, you'll end up paying £28.99 per month over a 2-year period, which brings the final total to £695.76. You actually save £17 by going through Xbox All Access, but can you keep up with monthly payments is the question. It's a similar deal with the Xbox Series S. The box on its own costs £249, plus 24 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which equates to £512.76. Still keeping with us? Going through Xbox All Access for the S brings the final total to £503.76, which lets you save a whopping £9. But these plans will both be available from Game and Smith's Toy Store here in the UK. And like with any credit plan, before you opt in, be sure you can afford to maintain the payments throughout the period. So as you can probably tell, there's never been anything quite like Xbox All Access in the console space before. It's very much a pricing plan skewed to cater those towards used to buying mobile phones on a 2-year basis. But like I said, it's important to keep up with those payments if you do plan on opting for the Xbox All Access route, as opposed to just buying it outright. My personal advice at this stage would be that if you can save now, ready for when the Series S or the Series X comes out, you're better off just buying it upright all the time, despite those little bonuses you might get with Game Pass and Xbox Live Gold. But anyway, this brings us to the final portion of our big X versus S breakdown. Which console should you buy? Weighing up the pros, weighing up the cons. Let's get into it. What kind of gamer are you? Because it will affect your ultimate purchasing decision. Let's get into it. Which console should you buy? It doesn't take a genius to realise that the Xbox Series X is being marketed to players who want to enjoy the newest, latest and best. It's being held as the world's most powerful console all over again for a reason. squarely aimed at those who want to enjoy the very best graphics. The question is the £200 price hike worth being able to play games at 4K 60? Well, providing you have a 4K television, I would definitely say so. You'll never have to worry about any Xbox Series game being compatible for your console. Plus, the fact that it features a disc drive means you can always shop around retailers to find games at the lowest possible price, instead of just being locked into the Microsoft Store ecosystem. Any physical game discs you already own and are playable via backwards compatibility will also work on the Series X, and you'll be able to enjoy the benefits of the pre-owned market. The Xbox Series S, on the other hand, intends to be an entry-level home console for players who want to enjoy next-gen titles but don't necessarily care about the best visuals. As already alluded to, it doesn't feature a disc drive, so this would very much be your Xbox Game Pass machine, as it were. Only it boasting just 500 gigs of storage space does likely mean you'll always be deleting and reinstalling stuff. But still, if you welcome the all-digital future and want to bag a bargain, the Series S is still a good option. So there you have it, guys, our massive deep dive into the Series S versus Series X debate. Microsoft have finally put all their cards on the table, now it's Sony's move. But hopefully, if you're locked into that Xbox ecosystem, you know that you're going to buy one of these consoles. Hopefully, we've explained things relatively simply to help you make the best decision when November 10th arrives. It's a very exciting time. But until next time, do subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. We do reviews, listicles, unboxings all the time here on Console Deals, and be sure to check out the website for the best deal. We'll let you know as soon as pre-orders go live. But until next time, thank you for watching and happy gaming.